Every day, managers negotiate prices, contracts, deadlines, and partnerships. Yet, many negotiations fail, not because of bad intention, but because of lack of structure. In this session, we will explore a powerful negotiation framework that helps managers to prepare strategically, create value, and achieve sustainable agreement. The negotiation framework in supply management conceptualizes buyer-supplier negotiation not as a singular event, but as an interactive, dynamic, and systematic process that consists of five major phases. In the first phase, we should identify or anticipate the sourcing requirement, then determining whether the negotiation or the competitive bidding is required. The third step is about planning for negotiation. The fourth step is conducting the negotiation, and finally execute and follow up on the agreement. The negotiation process begins long before parties meet at the bargaining table. It originates with the identification or anticipation of a sourcing requirement. This stage corresponds to the purchasing cycle, where a firm recognizes the need for a component, a raw material, a service, an equipment, or even a finished good to support organizational operations. In advanced organizations, supply management participates in early product development alongside marketing, engineering, operations, design, and research and development. Early involvements of the supplier enhance cost efficiency, design to provide design visibilities and innovation. In cases involving existing item under established contract, supplier identification may not be necessarily. We already know our best supplier. However, if new requirements often require supply management to identify, evaluate, and qualify new suppliers. Thus, negotiation begins with a strategic foresight and cross-functional collaboration. Not all purchasing situations require extensive negotiation. So in the second phase, we need to determine if negotiation or competitive bidding is required. For standardized low value commodity like items, competitive biddings may be sufficiently enough for satisfying organizational need. However, negotiation become a requirement when non-price variables are critical or when complexity prevents simple price-based selection. So beyond the need to resolve non-price issue, several strategic operational factors justify engaging in a formal negotiation with suppliers. These reasons may reflect the increasing complexity and strategic importance of modern supply management. The first one, it's related to the value and volume of the contract. So is the contract large? When contract involve substantial financial commitments, often multi-year agreements worth of millions of dollars, the risk associated with the supplier non-performance become significantly higher. Failure in such agreements can lead to disruptions in supply continuity, can lead to operational shutdowns, financial losses, as well as reputational damage. Therefore, buyers must negotiate specific safeguards, performance guarantees, penalties, and monitoring mechanism to ensure that suppliers fully understand and commit to the contractual agreements and contractual obligations. The magnitude of the investment necessitates careful risk mitigation through the negotiation. Also, are there any technical requirement, or the technical requirement, are they complex or not? Are they evolving and changing over time or not? Negotiation become a required um, aspects, or it is an essential when purchasing involve technically sophisticated products and services, particularly when specifications are still evolving. In such cases, final requirements may not be clear, or it wasn't clearly defined at the outset. Product and process designs may change during the development. Technical uncertainties may require flexibility in execution. So, under these circumstances, it is difficult to establish a fixed agreement through simple bidding. Negotiation allow the parties to define responsibilities, to manage uncertainties, to allocate risk, and establish mechanisms for modification as requirements evolve. Also, capital intensive investments. So, does the contract involve, for example, certain equipments or plants? In this case, suppliers must dedicate, for example, a customized factory or equipment or specialized process to meet the buyer's needs. The transactions become highly asset specific in this case. These capital intensive investments increase financial risks for both parties. So negotiation is necessary to address investments recovery mechanism, long-term volume commitment, cost-sharing arrangements, as well as risk allocation. Such agreements often extend beyond short-term transactional exchange and require strategic alignment. Also, if a special or collaborative relationship is involving here, so some agreements involve collaborative partnerships rather than transactional buyer-seller transactions, or what we call it the arm's length transaction. These may include joint technology development, shared research and development efforts, maybe collaborating on technical specifications, sharing laboratories and testing facilities, sharing risks and rewards. These arrangements require detailed negotiation to define the governance structure, intellectual property ownership, confidentiality protections, and benefit sharing mechanisms. The relationship becomes strategic rather than purely contractual. Also, is the supplier performing value added activities? So modern supply chains increasingly relies on suppliers to perform high value activities such as product design, testing and validation, distribution, inventory management, as well as after sale services. These responsibilities extend well beyond basic manufacturing or delivery function. Negotiation is necessary here to establish performance standards, compensation structure, matrices, and evaluation systems, as well as accountability mechanism. So such a discussion ensure alignment between buyer expectations and supplier capabilities. Therefore, negotiation with supplier extends beyond price discussion. It becomes essential when contracts are high value, technically complex, capital intensive, collaborative, or strategically significant. Furthermore, although digital tools streamline procurement processes, they complement rather than replace the negotiation. in situations involving substantial risk and strategic importance. Effective management of supplies must therefore evaluate each sourcing situation carefully and determine when structured negotiation is required to protect organizational interest and foster long-term value creation. The following situations or issues may require supply management to negotiate with its suppliers. For example, allowable or reimbursable costs, delivery schedules and lead time, quality standards and performance matrices, technological support, contract volume and capacity commitment, payment terms and currency consideration, also warranties, intellectual property rights and confidentiality, incentives, penalties, and dispute resolutions mechanism, after sale services and performance improvements requirements and other factors as well to be considered. The third step in the negotiation framework is planning. Planning is widely recognized as the most critical determinant of negotiation success. Although some negotiations are routine and require minimal preparation, complex negotiations may demand extensive data gathering and strategic analysis over extended period. The use of online request for proposal (RFP) and request for quotation (RFQ) templates represents a significant advancement in modern supply management and procurement practices. These electronic tools streamline the sourcing process, improve transparency, and enhance competitive outcomes. Although often used interchangeably, RFPs and RFQs serve different purposes. RFP, which is request for proposal, is used when the buyer seeks detailed solutions to complex requirements. It invites suppliers to propose methodologies, technical approaches, price structures, timelines, and value-added services. On the other hand, RFQ, request for quotation, is typically used for standardized goods and services, whether specifications are, in this case, clearly defined and the price is the primary evaluation factor. Online templates digitize these documents and standardize their structure, which enable efficient distribution and evaluation. Standardization and efficiency. So online RFP and RFQ templates provide predefined formats that ensure consistency across procurement activities. Buyer complete structured digital platform specifying the technical requirement, delivery expectations, payment terms, quality standards, evaluation criteria, and so on. So these templates reduce administrative efforts, minimizes error, and ensure that suppliers receive identical information. As a result, comparisons between suppliers' responses become more systematic and objective. Also, electronic distribution allow procurement professionals to send RFP or RFQs to multiple qualified suppliers in the same time, regardless of geographic locations. Suppliers can submit proposals electronically, often with a standardized response field. So this creates a greater bidding efficiency, it increased competition, it provide improved price discovery and enhanced transparency in evaluation. So when integrated with e-procurement system, these tools may also support reverse auction as well as real-time competitive pricing mechanism. Online templates also facilitate faster communication and easier revision. If requirements change during sourcing process, buyers can update documents electronically and redistribute them instantly. Suppliers can respond quickly, attach supporting documentations, and clarify terms through digital communication platforms. This iterative exchange supports more dynamic negotiation process. Also, it has some strategic implications for negotiation. While online RFP and RFQ tools reduce the need to uh, face-to-face meeting in routine purchases, they do not eliminate negotiation altogether. For standardized or commodity purchases, electronic processes may fully satisfy sourcing needs. However, for high volume, technically complex, or strategically critical items, formal negotiation remain essential and required. In such cases, online RFPs and RFQs serve as a preliminary screening mechanism. They are considered as structured data gathering tools, a foundation for subsequent negotiation. Thus, electronic templates complement rather than replace traditional negotiation strategies. While increasingly globalization, online RFP and RFQ systems significantly reduce travel costs and time constraints, so organizations can engage suppliers across multiple countries without requiring physical meeting. This capability extends suppliers' access, it enhances innovations, potentials, and support global supply chain integration. Therefore, the use of online RFP and RFQ templates strengthens procurement effectiveness by standardizing processes, increasing competition, enhancing transparency, and accelerating communication. While these tools are particularly effective for routine and standardized purchases, they also serve as a strategic foundation for more complex negotiation. Ultimately, digital procurement platforms align with modern management objectives like efficiency, competitiveness, and strategic value creation. So, what points to focus on during planning phase? Effective negotiation planning includes defining issues, needs, and objectives, gathering relevant information, establishing target outcomes and bottom lines, analyzing stakeholders' interest, assessing the opposing parties, structuring the bargaining mix, also determining the process protocols, including location, participants, and agenda. Location selection may influence power dynamics, particularly in international negotiation. However, virtual negotiation platforms increasingly provide efficient alternatives to physical meeting. Importantly, successful negotiators prepare ranges for acceptable outcomes rather than rigid positions. Therefore, flexibility, strategic clarity, and through preparation significantly increase the likelihood of favorable results. The fourth phase is to conduct the negotiation. Negotiation should commence or start only when adequate preparation has been completed. Nevertheless, time constraints often require negotiators to balance through planning with organizational urgency. Negotiation typically consists of four iterative phases. It starts with facts finding and information exchange. Second, reassessments and internal review. Third, proposal and concession exchange. And fourth, final agreement. Throughout this process, strategy is operationalized through tactics, and tactics may be ethical or unethical, and effective negotiators must remain alert and vigilant. Research on negotiation behavior indicates that highly effective negotiators demonstrate flexibility and revise goals when justified by new information. They treat issues independently rather than rigidly linking them. They establish upper and lower ranges. They explore multiple alternatives per issue and focus on common ground rather than differences. They avoid extensive counter proposals and any unnecessarily arguments and argumentative elaborations. Extensive counter-proposals may signal risks or inadequate preparations. In contrast, disciplined concessions management reflects strategic competence. Equally important is the atmosphere of negotiation. Extensive formality may inhibit open dialogue, whereas a constructive and respectful environment fosters trust and long-term collaboration. Periodic summarizations of agreements and the use of dedicated note-taking enhance clarity and reduce any misunderstanding. The last phase in negotiation framework is execute and follow up on the agreement. Reaching an agreement does not conclude the negotiation process. Rather, it makes the beginning of contract performance and relationship management. Execution involves formally integrating the agreement into corporate contract system to ensure organizational visibility and compliance. Ongoing performance monitoring is essential. Buyers must notify suppliers promptly of performance deficiencies to preserve legal remedies, while suppliers must likewise communicate buyers' non-compliance. Effective post-agreement management reinforces mutual commitment and strengthens long-term relationships. The execution phase transforms negotiated intentions into operational realities. In conclusion, the negotiation framework in supply management emphasizes that negotiation is neither isolated nor purely transactional. It is a structured, multi-phase process embedded within strategic procurement activities. From identifying sourcing requirements to managing contract execution, each phase demands analytical rigor, strategic foresight, ethical conduct, and disciplined planning. Effective negotiators distinguish themselves through preparation, flexibility, focus on common interest, and systematic follow through. Ultimately, successful negotiation in supply management does not merely secure favorable contract terms, it builds resilient partnership, it mitigates risk, enhances organizational performance, and contributes to sustainable competitive advantage.